Hi, we're here today to review the oneisall professional pet clipper. I don't know about you, but with inflation, boy, have we sure noticed the cost to get our dog clipped. Not only inflation, but also the waiting list. So we often need to wait months before we're able to get the dog in. There has been an advent of new groomers in the area, but it still doesn't seem to be enough to keep up. And we just, as a Hail Mary, just decided to purchase our own set of pet clippers. We found this one in particular. Again, we checked out and tried a bunch of different options and settled on this one. So let me tell you about it real quick. As you can see here from the size of the box, came in a decent sized box. It's what we use to store it. There's a lot of details on the back about the product itself. Some really key things to note here, the battery. So it's lasted us typically at least one clipping, a clipping and a half. It gets through. There's a 6,000 RPM motor, if that means anything to you. We just noticed it meant the faster clip. So it's got that faster vibration rate, means that you can actually get through the tougher parts that you need to. So that turned out to be more important than we probably realized. There's high carbon steel cutting blades, which means they're just going to be more durable. These clippers are going to last you a long time for a consumer grade pet clipping set. And finally, there's worldwide usage for voltage, which you never think you're going to need. And the next thing you know, you're planning a trip or whatever it is. It just means it's easier if you needed to take this with you, for example, if you're doing a longer trek somewhere. So it's basically the stainless steel blades, and the strong power was one of the biggest things. So just to keep in mind, without the strong power and the RPM, it just means that the blades aren't going to cut as quick, and they could get caught in the fur or the hair, which is going to make your clip slower, cause a little bit of suffering in the form of hair pulling to your pet. So actually this was great because I came with a little pair of scissors, like, hair cutting scissors, and we found that these were nice and sharp. They work great. So you're going to need to use these for around the face and around the toes and in between the paws. That was handy. It was easy to get into. It came with a nice heavy duty comb, because the thing that we found from watching all the grooming channels is you need to wash your dog and condition your dog. And then during the blowout phase, you can brush it with either these or actually a brush, is what we ended up using. Our dog's got a mixture of more hair than fur. It comes with a great little charging station. It is rechargeable, no batteries. That's excellent. From what we can tell from multiple uses now is we're not seeing any reduction in the battery power. It seems to be holding up. It's got your nice little cleaning brush. Again, these are just things we keep inside the box to keep it all together. There's a guard for storage. There's oil, which you need to use on the blades itself. So just like oiling up anything that needs to keep them lubricated, you're just gonna want to do this a couple, like usually one drop. Will probably do it before every grooming session. It comes with a nice selection of blades. So everything from the 1 straight up to the 8. And what that means is there's the 1's the shortest blade, which you're gonna wanna use on the feet, close, maybe up around the face. And the longest blade is if you're doing, I don't know why you'd ever do this, but you might need to for whatever reason, maybe on the tail. We found we ended up a lot of times with usually the 2, 3, and 4. When our dog got particularly long hair that was probably a couple inches long, we could get it down to about a ½ inch or about a centimeter. We tend to go a little bit shorter on the feet because with the hair, that's where snow would grab. And then the actual unit itself is pretty straightforward. This allows you to push the blade higher or take the blade attachment on or off. As you can see here, there's a little bit of vibration. It worked great for us. We've still got leftover hair right on the, and the power left shows you right there. So we've got 100% just charged. It's held its charge even while it's sitting in the box. The blades quickly and easily attach on. It's pretty intuitive, no problem. You can hear it, you can see it. We got our dog used to give the noise a little bit before we even got started, and found that he was super comfortable with it. He had no issues with it. And the one thing I would recommend is if this is your first time grooming, is get a little helper. It's gonna take you probably about an hour, maybe 90 minutes, just depending between the washing of the dog, conditioning the dog, you're going to want to do that if you need a dog trimmer hair. It'll make all the difference, brushing the dog out with a blow dryer or letting it dry naturally, and then the cutting part. But we found, since buying the clippers, yes, it'll take you an hour to do, but so it'll take you half an hour to get back and forth to the groomers, all those things. So we just sort of do it at a quick dedicated Saturday. We found that this unit in particular has been super useful. We're able to use it right away. It charged up for us, and it actually saved us a lot of time in the long run, and our cost savings, what it'll cost you for one grooming is probably what it'll cost you to buy this pet clipper set. And if you use it 4 times a year, it's paid for itself. And yes, it will take a little bit of your time, but we didn't find it that bad. There's some excellent dog grooming YouTube websites on how to do it really quickly. Really, as long as you're not getting too close to the face, you're going to want to do that really carefully. What can you possibly screw up, right? If you get the same length of blade and you just go gently from the dog's head to the dog's back, unless you've got a super fancy event, you really dog just needs a basic haircut. It'll save you a lot of money in the long run. It'll make your dog more comfortable. You'll have something fun to do, to talk about with your friends at what you did on a weekend. And we're always just looking for new ways to be thrifty, right? So hope this helps. We sure like it. Okay, here we have a quick example of using the clippers. So one thing I would have to recommend is you don't use the clippers without a guard. We've had incidences where we got just a little bit too close to the skin, and you will actually cut your dog just a little bit. So it's usually only a tiny scar if you're having good luck, but it's gonna be an easier thing to do. So we're all charged up. We're just gonna try. We always start from the front. We work towards the back, and just quickly like this. You can see here with the blade level 3, he's not very long. We just got a little bit off. He's not bothered, nothing like that. That's blade level 3. We're pretty happy with those results there. Let's go a little bit shorter. Let's take it down to a 2. Again, really easy just to clip on the blades off and on, no big deal. Comes on, you can lift up this little piece here, which gives you a little more blade action. But be careful there. Make sure you want to practice with this before you get going. I do tend to prefer a little bit shorter on the legs because it just tends to catch things like debris. We've noticed that we typically don't. A lot of times the professional groomers, you'll see them get the tables where they hook them up with the collar to something higher up above them. If you have a helper, you probably don't need to do that. I've been doing this on my own. I let the dog lie down and I just simply look after them. Just pull them through. You can see there with the 2, I always go with the grain, so to speak. 2, you're gonna get a little bit closer. But if your dog is able just to sit down comfortably, just prepare again like an hour time, go through the 2, you're gonna get a little bit closer. You're not gonna have a lot of space. But again, it's probably a nice one to go and do their right close to their paws and their feet, because you don't wanna have it long. That's where you're gonna get the dirt, the snow is gonna stick and the rest of it. So I know they have the large blade, the number 8, which is the longest, and I guess it really depends what style you're trying to go for. For us personally, we found that we stick typically to the 1 to the 4 size blades. We get our most bang for our buck with that. And you're also, don't forget, you're gonna wanna be super careful when you're getting close to the eyes. You might wanna do that by hand. I always make sure I'm cutting sideways, never ever towards the eyes. And again, we just learned how to do this. Thank you, YouTube. There's some great groomers out there that make it really easy. And all they recommend, wash, dry, blow dry the dog. Make sure you condition the hair. We found that makes a significant difference, especially when you have a dog with hair. And just, again, gently, front to back. Again, the shorter, the smaller the number of the blade, the closer you're gonna get. We like going closer with the smaller numbers, particularly on the feet and the legs, where you need to get a little bit of a closer trim. And just make sure your dog's calm and relaxed, and make sure you've got a little bit of time. Our dog's about 35 pounds, and it probably takes about an hour just to go slow. By the time you wash and dry, you can go a bit quicker, but you probably want to make sure you plan for that. If you need to take a break, just the dog needs a break. They seem to be reacting badly. But as you can see here, I guess our guy is pretty used to it at his, ripe old age of 3. And has no problems with the clippers. There's no reaction to it. I always do try to turn the clippers on and off so he's close to it, but for the most part, we've had no issues. And it saved us hundreds of dollars. This unit is going to save us thousands of dollars. Yes, it's obviously a little bit of time, but then we do it on our schedule. We never ever have to wait to work with a groomer schedule. We do it when we want. We're going to spend time with them anyway. So we do it after a big hike, clean them up, dry him off, and we've even put him on the coffee table and watched a movie while we were cutting him just to keep it going. It was no big deal. We sort of made a game out of it, stopped, took breaks, gave him treats, and it was fine. So really happy with this, I've got to say. Thanks.